One of the biggest things when I talk to leaders is, wow, I just don't have the time built into the school schedules for teachers to be able to pop out of their prep time and go visit another class or collaborate with their department team and their grade team, or any other sort of collective teacher efficacy builder, PD time, right? Like all these things rely on a strong school schedule or even district schedule for cross-school collaboration within the district and vertical alignment K-12, right? So all this stuff requires that we have the ability to make decisions at the school scheduling level. And if you are one of those folks, yay. As a teacher, I was part of a really great school that allowed teachers to really step up and be leaders in this space. So talking to you, even if you're not in a formal leadership role, but may have some influence over a creative solution, part of a team that really thinks about this stuff. So I'm gonna give you 3 concrete tips today. Really, I think like closer to 9, but 3 kind of categories of tips. And we're gonna go from there. Let's get to it. I'm going to include this in your description here below the video so you can actually get it and grab it, and there's like clickable links and stuff on the second page, but I want to walk you through these basic ideas. Now, these are big dreaming ideas, but I've seen them done in many schools and networks of schools. They are very possible, so we have to get creative. It might be a little uncomfortable, but check out last week's video for some discomfort in how we generate justice and effective dialogue that makes change, right? We have to get uncomfortable. Okay, now, to make a little bit more time in your schedule, you could experiment with an early dismissal, late start, where the students are leaving or arriving later. And then when you do that, like, so you could start an hour late a couple days a week. You could release students at like 1:30 or whatever, an hour and a half early, one time a week. You can also partner with nonprofits. And so this one is really thinking about sending students to do like volunteer work at this time. I've seen this work really nicely for schools who do this like one full day a week. Others do it a couple times a week in just the afternoon hours. Whatever you want to do, there's a great way to have it be part of the school day, but students aren't with you, they're with someone else, so that teachers can optimize that time to collaboratively work together, plan, align, all the things. Another piece here is that we want to reallocate, right? So under this piece, we're talking about the schedule itself. Here, we're talking about reallocating. So when we're thinking about the larger picture of what teachers are doing, we're trying to take away as many other tasks as possible to optimize the collective teacher efficacy and the learning and the PLC time and all of that, right? We know from Hattie's research that collective teacher efficacy is the number one thing that impacts student learning by an effect size of larger than 1. So there's literally no better thing that we can do other than to get our teachers feeling like they can make a difference because they are equipped with the PD, they're equipped with the partnership with other teachers, all that stuff. So erase teacher duties or circular 6. I know that sometimes it feels like that has to happen because there's not somewhere else to go. But if we think about it, right, we are paying teachers a teacher salary rate, right? And so for those hours that we have, and we're paying the teacher salary portion of that, we could also be paying someone who doesn't have a teacher degree, right, who is doing these duties, the circular 6s, like whatever the lunchtime, the whatever it is, right? We could reduce teacher loads. We can reallocate funds to hire more teachers if possible, or admin can pick up a class. I know a lot of administrators who actually miss the classroom and they're like, hey, if I could just teach 1 class a week or something, it would be awesome, right? And I would feel connected to the instructional piece of my work, and I would kind of get away from all the leadership stuff. So if that feels doable, if it's going to revitalize some of your leaders, maybe an assistant principal who's eager to do this, right? We can think about doing that, just to make sure that teachers are not overloaded. We need the time for teachers to do all of the other things, or else their lessons are going to suffer. It's great to have them in the classroom with students. That's why they're there, right? But they're not going to be equipped for that emotionally, mentally, just physical exhaustion wise, but also PD wise, like ready to go, have all the strategies I've learned and feel equipped in that sense. Finally, redefine what PD is. So we might reorganize existing PD time to have the teachers lead a staff PD instead of making a staff meeting where we're sharing like memos and instructions and things. We might swap staff meetings for PLCs, right? So this idea of we all have to come together and the leader has to facilitate, let's flip that on its head. So if the leader, for example, is taking on a class a week, okay, well, now they have less time to prep for that PD. Great. Have the teacher lead it. And the teacher doesn't have to actually, there are teachers who would love to set up PD. I was one of those teachers myself, while they're also teaching, but they don't have to have like a formal slideshow and everything. They could just say, hey, I tried this strategy this week, worked really well for my students. Here's an example of the student work or a student comment about how they loved it. Here's how you could do it in your class. Let's all open the tool together and look at it if it's a tech tool, for example. Also, scheduling teacher prep times in a way that lines up with other teachers in the same grade or content area. I think a lot of people think about doing this. Think about doing it in a cross-sectional way as much as possible. I don't know if that's the right word, but basically that they have both prep time with the same grade folks and also prep time with the same content area folks. That means they're going to have multiple prep periods, like at least 2 per week, that they have. One to collaborate with grades, one to collaborate with content teams, built into their daily schedule. Ideally, there is another prep period that day on each of those days. So they're not losing out on their prep time for the day, but they are also, in addition to the regular prep time, having that collaborative time as well. Again, thinking about all of these things holistically is going to make that possible. Big shifts, but you can do it. How are you feeling now? Those are some big shifts. They may even feel impossible. And I can share with you other folks' schedules. I can brainstorm with you. I love to brainstorm with you. But also I'm going to share with you the link in the description, because on page 3 of that document, like right below where we were looking, there is a bunch of examples with hyperlinks that you can just click into and explore at your own pace. I'd love to hear how it goes. Reach out and let me know if you have questions, get stuck, need a brainstorm partner.